Oh my God, Mulder. It smells like... I think it's bile.
Is there any way I can get off my fingers quickly without betraying my cool exterior?
We tell a number of different kinds of stories on The X-Files, but there are two main kinds of stories we tell, which are the standalone episodes. These are the self-contained genre stories. Horror, thrillers, science fiction. And then we tell the mythology episodes, which deal with the Mulder and Scully pursuit of a conspiracy to hide something from the American public.
You want to tell me what this is about?
Burn it! In the next hour, we will look at the characters and the mythology of the X-Files, with interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and a preview of the upcoming feature film as we go inside the X-Files.
FBI. FBI. Special Agent Fox Mulder. I'm with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I'm Special Agent Mulder from the FBI. I'm Agent Fox Mulder. Mulder, FBI. Agent Mulder. I'm with the Bureau. Special Agent Mulder. Special Agent Mulder with the FBI. I'm Special Agent Mulder with the FBI. My name is Fox Mulder. I'm with the FBI.
I'm supposed to believe that's a real name?
Agent Mulder. I'm Dana Scully. I've been assigned to work with you.
Oh, isn't it nice to be suddenly so highly regarded? So who did you take off to get stuck with this detail, Scully?
Actually, I'm looking forward to working with you. I've heard a lot about you.
Oh, really? I was under the impression that you were sent to spy on me.
The premise of the X-Files
Do you have any
is
doubt about my qualifications?
two FBI agents exploring the paranormal from two different biases. One, a skeptic, one, a believer.
Scully was green, but incredibly smart.
I think what appealed to me so much was those first conversations between Mulder and Scully in his office, and the intellectual repartee that took place.
Now, when convention and science offer us no answers, might we not finally turn to the fantastic as a plausibility?
What I find fantastic is any notion that there are answers beyond the realm of science. The answers are there. You just have to know where to look.
And that's why they put the I in FBI.
Fox Mulder is an Oxford graduate with a degree in psychology. He entered the FBI and immediately rose in the behavioral science department as a top profiler.
If there was a profiler like himself profiling him, he would have to work from the fact that he has some kind of oral fixation because he's constantly popping sunflower seeds. He doesn't have a bedroom. You've never seen him in bed. You've seen him sleeping only on the couch.
Good morning.
He likes to watch pornography. Whatever tape you found on that VCR, it isn't mine.
Good, because I put it back in that drawer with all those other videos that aren't yours.
While he was working as a profiler, Mulder came upon the X-Files, files that had been shelved or buried by the FBI and were not being investigated for some reason.
He went into deep regression hypnosis. While he was under this hypnosis, he recovered a traumatic memory from his childhood. He came to see in this memory that his sister was abducted by aliens.
America! Samantha! Samantha!
What time is it?
It's after 2.
Did you drive up here? Why didn't you call?
I needed to see you in person. I need to ask you something. I need to ask you about something that happened a long time ago. This weight of whatever you want to call it, survivor guilt or whatever on Mulder would be compounded eventually when he learned that he was the one who was supposed to be taken and not his sister, and that his sister is dead or in pain or missing because of him in a very real way. When Samantha, before she was gone, did Dad ever ask you if you had a favorite? Did he ever ask you that?
Fox, please.
Mom, did he ever ask you to make a choice?
Don't do
Mom,
this.
listen to me. I need to know. Did he make you make a choice?
He has learned that his father may have in fact been involved in this conspiracy from some time back, even before he was born. He may be the person who chose between Mulder and Mulder's sister, Samantha, when she was taken.
Fox.
In the second season, my sister, or somebody that I believe to be my sister, comes back to me, and this was my quest. So this is an important moment in the show. And as a two-parter and as these shows progress, it becomes clear to me that she's actually a clone. In the beginning of the 4th season, I saw many clones of an 8-year-old version of my sister. Samantha? Samantha, it's me. It's me, Fox, your brother. Well, he hasn't found the real one. We don't know. I mean, the sister version in the last episode where we saw her, who was raised by Mulder's arch nemesis, the cigarette-smoking man, may have been his sister. We didn't really learn whether she was a clone or not. In the pilot episode, we meet the cigarette-smoking man, a shadowy figure who blocks Mulder and Scully's investigations into the paranormal. It's hard to say what he's up to. He's like an all-purpose bad guy. He's up to whatever is wrong whenever we need him, and you never know what that is. So he's the Shadow. He's Darth Vader.
It's suggested that Fox Mulder may be the cigarette-smoking man's illegitimate son. So all of a sudden we have a very personal and possible connection to the devil, as it were.
How far back did it go?
How dare you? How dare you come here and accuse me?
Who is my father?
What do you want? To kill him again?
Just answer the question, Mom.
The question of Mulder being the cigarette-smoking man's son is still unanswered. We have, in fact, suggested that the offspring of that union between Mulder's mother and the cigarette-smoking man might be Mulder's sister, Samantha, and that might have some connection to her disappearance when she was 8 and he was 12.
Nobody quite wants to believe that I'm actually Samantha's blood father. I've heard people say that, you know, I've been a surrogate father. She treats me as a father because I've been so good to her. And then other people say, well, it wasn't Samantha at all. It was just a clone anyway.
My feeling is that she wasn't, but this will be answered. You know, a responsibility that we have in the show as we move on is to explain what happened on the night that Mulder's sister was abducted, why she was abducted, what are the plans going on by the government.
Hello, Bill.
Mulder's father had something to do with the original project, which was the experimentation on human beings with some kind of alien DNA.
You're going to learn of things, Fox. You're going to hear the words, and they'll come to make sense to you.
What words?
The merchandise.
It was something that I'd seen in a movie called Shoah, which is about the Holocaust, and it was about how the Nazis had shipped Jews back and forth over the country, and in the ledgers, the human cargo were called merchandise. I'm in a boxcar, buried inside a quarry. There are bodies everywhere.
Bodies?
Stacked floor to ceiling.
What happened to them?
I don't know.
Mulder, in these files, I found references to experiments that were conducted here in the U.S. by Axis Power scientists.
What kind of experiments?
Some kind of tests on humans, but they're referred to as merchandise.
From the look of it, I'd say they were alien.
Are you sure?
Wait a second. This one. That's a smallpox vaccination scar. Oh my God, Scully. What have they done?
The lie you believe, that they have cleverly led you to believe, Agent Mulder, is that there is intelligent life other than our own, and that we have had contact with these life forms.
So you're saying this has all been orchestrated? A hoax?
Which you've been used to perpetuate.
Agent Mulder is led to believe that certain needs to build biological warfare into our arsenal are the reasons that the space alien UFO stories have been floated. So he now believes that everything that he has believed for the last 5 years, even about his sister and her abduction, may be false, that it may be just a cover story, that he has been a giant fool to believe.
They said on Jerry Springer, you're like an expert.
I don't think this has anything to do with alien abductions. I don't even know if I believe in that stuff anymore.
Oh, come on. Really?
You're not suggesting that a headless body kicked his way out of a lattice morgue freezer, are you?
Then are you suggesting that Arthur Grable is not dead?
Are you suggesting that I go before the violent crime section and present a profile declaring that these murders are done by aliens?
Mulder, are you suggesting that the military is flying UFOs?
What you're saying is this man Rappo is leaving his body and floating around town killing people?
So are you still subscribing to the sheriff's claims of a possession?
You don't honestly believe this is some kind of an extraterrestrial?
And you suspect what? Bigfoot?
Mulder, what are we doing here?
Agent Scully, thank you for coming on such short notice.
Dana Scully is a medical doctor recruited right out of medical school by the FBI. And the FBI came to her and asked her, being a scientist, if she would debunk the work of Agent Fox Mulder, who had left the FBI mainstream to pursue the X-Files.
Damn it, Mulder, cut the crap. What is going on here? What do you know about those marks? What are they?
Why, so you can put it down in your little report? I don't think you're ready for what I think.
I'm here to solve this case, Mulder.
I remember everything being awkward at that time. You know, everything was difficult and just strange, and just trying to find my place, not only in the character, but also learning the ropes and learning how to stand on my mark and to hit my light and do all that kind of stuff. And the producers were up there, and I thought that the reason why they were huddling around the monitor was because they were discussing how bad I was and how could we recast this right now.
There was some pressure early on in the development of the show to establish that the characters had personal lives outside of the FBI, and we wanted to see who they were dating, and I felt that was all wrong.
At the time, I just assumed that that was going to be another relationship. That was going to be one of many relationships outside of her relationship with Mulder. It was just a given to me, and I think to everybody at the time, that that was just part of the storyline.
I felt the stories needed to drive the characters, and their work needed to drive them, that their work was all-consuming, and that they actually had no personal lives, that this was a quest, a romantic quest in the literary sense.
What normal people strive for and live for, you know, warmth, security, a family, these things are just, they fade away in the brightness of the light of his quest, which is just to find what he believes is the truth. So there's nothing else, really. There's classified government information I've been trying to access, but someone has been blocking my attempts to get at it.
Who? I don't understand.
Someone at a higher level of power. The only reason I've been allowed to continue with my work is because I've made connections in Congress.
And they're afraid of what? That you'll leak this information?
You're part of that agenda. You know that.
I'm not a part of any agenda. You've got to trust me.
Though she was a scientist and didn't believe in the paranormal, there was enough that was unexplainable that it piqued her interest and made them partners, and so it's been for 5 years.
I told David, and then I told Chris.
Gillian Anderson came to me in season 1 and told me she was pregnant.
If I truly comprehended the implications of that, it would have floored me.
I figured quickly that her pregnancy would extend over not just the first season, but into the second season when she'd have to go off and have her baby.
What it did, in a very interesting way, was it forced Chris and the writers to come up with an arc, which we had never done up until that point.
We came up with a story arc that really became crucial to the rest of the show, which is Scully's abduction by forces unknown. And what happened during that abduction has played in a very important and valuable way to the telling of this mythology.
Mulder! Please! I need your help! Mulder!
Where is she? I'm free, you son of a bitches! You can't touch Dwayne Barry anymore! Don't go! Don't go! I'm not going anywhere! Where is she? Where'd you leave her? They took her! Who? Them!
Gillian was gone for really 3 episodes, even though it was shot cleverly enough to make her look like she only missed 1. And those 3 episodes, from Dwayne Barry to Ascension to One Breath, really became like our first arc and the core of all the subsequent arcs that have arisen since then. So I think it was, it was hell at the time, but I think it was probably one of the luckiest things that happened.
You'll also see a display on the 10 most wanted. You might see a few of your relatives there.
It's where they put the implants.
That chip plays a very important part in Scully's life. Ultimately, the removal of it leads to the possible onset of her cancer.
I have cancer. It is a mass on the wall between my sinus and cerebrum. If it pushes into my brain, statistically, there is about 0 chance of survival.
I don't accept that. There must be some people who have received treatment for this. We can...
The opportunity the storyline gave me just to do something different, experiment with aspects of the character that I hadn't delved into before was tremendous.
You have always been a strong one. But you are my only daughter now. I know.
Dana?
Well, there was a scene that Bill had done with Dana, and it got taken out because the script was too long that week, and they needed time, and they cut it out.
You look good.
Thank you.
Charles is sorry he couldn't make it. He'll call you tonight. If you're feeling up to it.
Sad cause for a family reunion.
Oh, did Mom tell you? Get new orders. NAS Miramar, Dad's old stomping grounds.
That's great. Huh. Yeah, I was out there not long ago. A lot of old memories.
Yeah. A lot of ghosts now. Dad. Listen. Mom's getting worried there's gonna be no one to carry on the Scully name. Guess the pressure's on, huh?
Determined to find a cure for Scully's cancer, Mulder gains access to a secret government facility where he finds a chip identical to the one taken from her neck.
This is a cure for cancer? It may be for Scully's.
Putting it back in leads to possibly the remission of that cancer. So it is very important, and its ultimate purpose is still a mystery.
What are these? Human ova. Taken from home.
Harvested during her abduction through a high amplification radiation procedure that caused superovulation.
Why?
For fertilization. They're our mothers.
Later, Scully learns that the ova taken from her body during her abduction have been used to create a child.
According to this, I am Emily's mother.
The tricky part was how to be with this child. There's a coldness, there's a wariness, there's an awkwardness, but at the same time, there's this need from Scully to love and to be loved in this way.
Your name's Emily, right? I'm Dana. This must be very scary for you. I just wanted to let you know that everything's gonna be fine.
And the inevitability of her death is quite large, yet she's willing to fight, but yet there's not that connection. So it was tricky to know quite how to play that.
Fox.
And I even made my parents call me Mulder. So. Mulder.
Mulder, I wouldn't put myself on the line for anybody but you.
If there's an iced tea in that bag, it could be love.
Must be fate, Mulder. Root beer.
It sounds cliche to say that they're best friends, but they're best friends beyond what lovers could ever be.
Scully loves Mulder, and Mulder loves Scully. It's a wonderful romance. It's just not a sexual romance. It's not a physical romance. It is a caring, tender, respectful relationship. It's an ideal, and I would never want to do anything to threaten it, to change it.
One of the things that keeps people watching and keeps the aliveness between us is are those moments where there is that intimacy, where even just the touch of a hand can be the same as you know, making love in another series.
It's like the one friend, I guess, that he has in the world. I mean, I heard a phrase once, somebody was talking about their wife. This was a person who was very inept socially, not the wife, but the man. There were many things said about him that weren't kind, and he said, my wife was lovely and social and everything like that is my human credential. It like makes him a human being because people think if she can stand him, he must have some humanity within him. And sometimes I think about Scully as Mulder's human credential. It's the only thing that makes him not crazy in many ways.
Well, I tell you, bloopers can happen anytime, you know, and it's just, it can be somebody blows a line.
They called me down from D.C. trying to develop a clear something for the court. Have you? They called me down from D.C. trying to develop a clear diagnosis for the court.
Once you start laughing, it's no longer under your control.
But if I even sense that the other person is going to break, I'm gone, like, you know, 200 miles an hour.
She starts giggling, and it's all over.
Can we cut?
Sorry.
Check it out, Mulder. I had breakfast with the guy who shot John F. Kennedy.
Is that so?
Old dude now, but yeah. Says he was dressed as a cop on the grassy knoll.
The lone gunmen are a trio of conspiracy theorists and a government watchdog group. They published a newsletter called The Lone Gunmen.
In our April edition of The Lone Gunmen, we ran an article on the CIA's new CCD-TH-2138 fiber optic lens micro video camera.
The Lone Gunmen are these three computer nerds who are Mulder's buddies.
He comes to us for information he can't get through his regular channels. You know, we have apparently connections to various sorts of information that he can't get.
We can dig it up much
Yeah.
faster than he can dig
We
it
seem
up.
to know a hell of a lot.
They use this magnetic strip to track you. Whenever you go through a metal detector at an airport, they know exactly how much you're carrying.
They do actually help Mulder, and they have some kind of expertise. Okay, Langley, Frohicke, I'm here. Open the door.
The doors work on redundant systems. We're working fast.
Almost there.
Well, how I came to be cast in the X-Files, I auditioned for the pilot. I auditioned for the senior FBI agent who had 3 lines. I didn't get that part. I got the part with no lines, called the Cigarette Smoking Man. And then I guess Tombs was probably the next episode, and where I actually spoke a little bit.
Do you believe them?
Of course I do.
I imagined myself to be quite powerful. Then, kind of all of a sudden, at least for me, the syndicate appeared with the well-manicured man and the first elder, and I seemed to be in some way answerable to them. The syndicate seems to be working with the aliens towards some kind of goal.
Bill Davis told me that he believes that he is the hero of the show.
Well, I mean, I think it's obvious that CSM is the hero of the show. I mean, surely it's obvious to everybody. I mean, Mulder's so impetuous. You know, he's always flying off the handle. He's always waving his gun around. I mean, what kind of responsible citizen is he?
I should shoot you right here, but they'd probably be able to save you.
Whereas CSM is always very thoughtful, thinks things through, delegates responsibility. I mean, clearly has a handle on what's going on.
As I said, I'm offering you a chance to know the truth.
In exchange for what?
Quit the FBI. Come work for me.
So that's Bill Davis's point of view on the character, and I guess, you know, whatever makes it easy for you to sleep at night, CSM.
I play Assistant Director Skinner, who is their superior. They are directly responsible to who gives them their assignments.
Agent Mulder, Agent Scully?
He's a very by-the-book individual within the FBI. I think he has very high moral standards. He's a very ethical person.
Why don't you tell me what you're doing here?
I want an answer from you.
I want an answer from you.
This isn't your job.
My job is to direct the agents under me, to question their motives when they're lying about investigations.
It's hard to figure out what Skinner's up to. He's kind of gone back and forth between being in Mulder and Scully's camp and towing his FBI line.
The Skinner relationship has evolved. Early episodes, I used to hang out in his office all the time. I was often in his office. I quite liked those scenes. He had very, very comfortable furniture, and I just kind of hung out. Of course, then he got irritated with my smoking, and he put up this little sign saying, "Thank you for not smoking," which I looked at and lit up anyway. And then he starts going over to the other side in a way. He starts getting affected by Mulder. What is this?
This is where you pucker up and kiss my ass.
Now listen,
you listen to me, you son of a bitch.
It had been such a hard thing for him to deal with him like that for so long. So when he was able to, you know, just look at him and tell him to kiss his ass, it was a fine moment.
Krychek. Alex Krychek.
Skinner didn't say anything about taking on a partner. Alex Krychek was hired to To fill in for Scully when Gillian got pregnant, Mulder needed a new partner. And Krycek came in and then seemed to be just a young green agent, innocent enough, and then turned into like some kind of double-dealing secret agent working for the cigarette-smoking man.
If Mulder's such a threat, why not eliminate him?
Kill Mulder and you risk turning one man's religion into a crusade.
And now he's just kind of out there on his own because he's double-crossed everybody, possibly killed my father. Dad?
He has become not just another treacherous character in the series, but one of the most treacherous, a man who now works only for himself.
This character is somebody that the audience loves, for lack of a better description, loves to hate. One of the things I love about playing this role is that it's a very physical role, and I love doing physical acting. It was a force that literally pushed me from behind, and you could feel the heat up your back, and it looks great, I think, on camera. Punching me, my head had to snap in order to sell the punches. He hits me full on with the phone on the forehead. I go down, and as I'm going down, I'm going, keep rolling, keep rolling. The next day, the whole side of my face is bruised. You know, whether it's hanging from 17 floors by one arm, when I'm being chased by horses in Tunguska, it's all like play. It's so much fun to do. Nine lives, I've used 5.
Every kind of leak or mole that Mulder's had into the conspiracy, into the government, has either died or betrayed him. In the first season was Jerry Harden, who played Deep Throat, who was kind of this avuncular, paternalistic figure who was fond of Mulder, you got the feeling.
Why did you lie to me? I needed to divert you. You and Scully are excellent investigators, and your motives are just. However, there still exist some secrets which should remain secret. Truths that people are just not ready to know.
I see him as a man who felt like there was something that needed to be changed. If he himself became the action figure, if you will, then he becomes blown out of the way.
Trust no one.
The killing of Deep Throat at the end of season 1 was a giant thing for us. I think some people thought it was the end of the show. It was that big of an event.
He was replaced by Mr. X, who is played by Stephen Williams, who is less fond of Mulder.
This high-capacity compact 6-hour 40-caliber weapon is pointed at your head to stress my insistence that your search for who put your partner on that respirator desist immediately. You ignore my call problem. You expect me to do what you say. You go to hell. You got him killed. You got her killed. That's not going to happen to me. You're my tool. You understand? I come to you when I need you.
X was a survivor. That was his whole trip, that this man would do anything to survive. He was a stone-cold killer. It was Chris Carter himself called me up. He said, X is gonna take a bullet. It was a little sad because I didn't want to see that character go. But I had made it up in my mind to make it one of the best exit scenes, you know, that I possibly could.
When X meets his ultimate fate, which is to die on the floor in Agent Mulder's hallway, he writes the letters in blood, his own blood, SRSG, which leads Mulder to the special representative to the Secretary General of the UN. It's Marita Covarrubias.
Mr. Mulder. Not everything dies, Mr. Mulder.
The episode in which they shot Deep Throat, when they sent the script to me, there was a note from Chris on there saying, no one ever really dies in X-Files.
The only thing that I did not like about X's death was that I didn't think it was a very smart death. And then I thought, maybe X staged the whole thing himself. Maybe it's not an unsmart death. He'll be back. he's not dead.
With the knowledge that the previous informants have been killed, I think that it's possibly my fate in the future, unfortunately. But then again, as Marita would say, not everything dies.
I wanted the show to look like a movie each and every week. We built a full-size plane fuselage for a crash sequence, then dressed a crash site the size of a football field to look just like the real thing. In one season, we went from the polar ice cap to the deserts of the Southwest, all without leaving Vancouver. We took a rock quarry and took over 1,000 gallons of red paint and painted this rock quarry the color of the New Mexican desert, and took some CGI, some computer-generated images we shot elsewhere, and composited them together to create the impression, and a very good one, that we had gone to the southwestern part of the United States.
Well, in Colony and Endgame, we had the submarine, which was a wonderful set.
I wanted to put a submarine conning tower and poke it up through the polar ice cap. It was a giant undertaking. We got a soundstage, loaded that soundstage with tons of snow, refrigerated it for 5 days, built this conning tower, movable conning tower that moved up and down 5 feet in the snow. And I think we've created a little bit of television history in the process.
I guess the big action sequences that I remember was some stuff that put me in jeopardy personally, like I hung off a ski gondola in Ascension. Which was kind of frightening, and then I was on the top of the train in 731, and those are fun. Those were a lot of fun.
On the X-Files, there are several different kinds of aliens. There is an alien bounty hunter, a man who can come down and shapeshift, transform himself into other people, including Mulder.
Tell me where he is.
I don't know what you're talking
about. He's a badass, you know. He's a tough guy.
Where is she?
Is the answer to your question worth dying for? Is that what you want?
Where is she?
He can only be killed by some kind of stiletto to the back of the neck.
He bleeds green blood, and this blood is toxic to human beings.
There are gray aliens that we've seen, or maybe not seen. We've hinted at them. Scully has even seen some of these, but we don't know if they're aliens.
Well, apparently there's one type of alien that can take just about any form he pleases, but seems most comfortable and most like himself in the form of a black oil, which can seep into a human being and take over that person. And you can see a person who's been taken over by the black oil type of alien by the black oil swimming over the person's eyes.
There's an arms race. It's actually a vaccination race going on between the Russians and between us. And whoever can get this vaccination then has some power, some leverage in dealing with the aliens.
The hope is that this vaccine might be able to expel the black oil or the black cancer, as it's been called, from your body.
It was a Russian version of this vaccine that was injected into the back of Mulder's neck, saving his life when he was exposed to the black cancer in an episode called Tunguska.
always fun to play with because they're untrained.
Bees have certain elements of alien-like lives. They are a colonizing force that has a correlation to the mythology that we're developing in the show, which is the idea that, in fact, aliens are coming down and colonizing the globe. Honeybees are doing the same thing. Bees have entered into the mythology in a way that's not fully explained yet. It's going to ultimately work in a way that I think is going to surprise some people. We've made a feature film.
Now we're going to make it bigger and better and louder and more explosive and put David and Gillian in nicer clothes.
You know, it's going to be like this big, and it's going to be, you know, it's going to be pretty intense.
Set out to do this X-Files movie. It was something that we wanted, first and foremost, to reward X-Files fans over the last 5 years for sticking with us. We wanted to make it an event for them, but we also wanted to make it a movie that the casual viewer, maybe the person who didn't get involved in X-Files, or a person who really doesn't watch television and goes to the movies, will go and see too.
Plague? Plague to end all plagues, Agent Mulder. A silent weapon for a quiet war. The systematic release of an indiscriminate organism for which the men who will bring it on still have no cure. They've been working on this for 50 years. While the rest of the world have been fighting gooks and commies, these men have been secretly negotiating a planned Armageddon.
Negotiating with whom?
I think you know.
Don't think! Just pick up the phone and make it happen!
Oh, for the movie, the main task was to make it make sense for people that knew nothing of the show, and to make it exciting enough and go further into the mythology of the show for people that knew the show better than I do.
The hardcore fans are the people that judge us most critically, judge us most carefully, and I think they will like the movie as much as anyone. People ask me all the time what the secret to the success of the show is, and I think it is very simple. I think we tell interesting stories with interesting characters played by interesting actors. I think it really comes down to that.
We make a feature every week.
I think that The X-Files is popular because it deals with subject matter that we as human beings are so interested in.
I think that everybody has some fascination with what's outside our existence. It's a constant journey towards finding the truth.
Every script is always a surprise, as it's meant to be, and that's why the show's so popular.
It's been a situation over the last 5 years where so many people have come together and done their best work.
It's very rare that you get to work with this type of actors, with the directors that we have, the crew that we have. I feel blessed.
I think that's really what The X-Files is all about.
I made this.